Remember when you got moved from your best friend in school because he laughed like a bird was on fire? I do. The indirect humiliation of grabbing your bag to move to a place next to the trash where first period milk cartons started to smell like gym lockers was the worst thing in the world. That's how I feel when car manufacturers change their insanely beautiful, articulate, well thought out model names and turn them into some bullshit acronym. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a car out there that the only thing you can complain about is the fact that they changed the name. A car that when you're 16 could be convinced is the fastest looking Honda/Acura ever made. A car that is the proverbial gateway drug to car modifications. I'm Alex Martini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we're talking about how to modify an Acura RSX. No, I can't do.
It's the right name.
No.
It's the right name.
No, it's not. How to modify an Acura Integra DC5. Sorry, just sometimes conglomerates are wrong. You know what I'm saying, Marvel? If you need parts, Mod Your Car Martini Works. We just got 1552 wheels and Koenig wheels live on the site, but we also have access to over 100,000 parts. So if you don't see it on there, just shoot us a message on our little chat bubble, and Gels, Carissa, or myself will help you out. It means the absolute world. The Acura RSX is a legend of a car, and if you plan on picking one up, I'm so goddamn proud of you. If I could pat you on the head, I would. These cars look good, have headlights the size of a toddler, and depending on which trim you get, can be as valuable as a 401k for the Gen Z folks in probably about 10 to 15 years. The Acura RSX, the official car of playing Breaking Benjamin while grinding on RuneScape. The RSX name introduced has everything to do with Acura changing its naming convention because it was scared the terms like Integra and the Legend were growing in popularity over the mark itself of Honda and Acura. It's silly, it's dumb, but that's how it is. And with Honda Civic being introduced in 2000 with the newest generation, that meant that the Civic in a suit would eventually hit the market, and it did, with production occurring from 2001 to 2006. What we got was McPherson strut-wearing, K-Series having, high school knowledge VTEC on its 2-liter soda capacity, and this thing was a banger. Why was it even birthed into this world? Easy, baby. The Japan market had already had variants of this car, and featuring exciting manual transmissions, special engines with 217 horsepower, helical limited slip differential, Brembo brakes, and because you could buy Mugen from dealerships, cars practically came modified from the dealership, ready to rock, and people like you and people like me, we loved that shit. What the US got through was either the RSX or the Type S, unless you snuck in a JDM one. So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. We got some good features with the base model coming with 160 horsepower, but the Type S coming with 200 or 210 horsepower, depending on the generation that you bought. This is a little change later in the year. I thought this was enough. This is honestly a good amount of power. Some of the Type S parts share similarly or identical part numbers as to what's found overseas, but Acura saw the US as a more luxury segment. So the best thing we got was a car with a picnic table on the ass and a 6-disc CD changer. I just want to read some of the names real quick. Taffeta White, Premium White Pearl, Satin Silver Metallic, Desert Silver Metallic, Arctic Blue Pearl, Eternal Blue Pearl, Nighthawk Black Pearl, that's just Gels' Modern Warfare username, Fire Pepper Red, Milano Red, Redondo Red Pearl, Alabaster Silver Metallic, my mom told me that that's my skin color, Jade Green, Blaze Orange. Whoever the marketing guy is on these colors need a raise because it just sounds more expensive. But what people quickly learned about this car was how well it was set up to have fun. Not like crazy hill climb, wheel-to-wheel racing or anything like that, even though it can. It was just fun. It was so fun, in fact, that Acura ended up winning the SCCA World Challenge Touring class with this car. And I don't need to convince you that it's worth buying. The Type S prices speak for themselves, for crying out loud, but it's a car that's as common as the likes of like a Suicide Boys album being in a 350Z or an over wide-bodied BRZ. But how do you modify an Acura RSX? Easy, baby. Grab your will to live and come with me. The 8100 RPM Redline Type S RSX is really where we want to be. And if you haven't bought one yet, count the pennies and steal from your uncle because this is what you'll want to snag. If you really want to ball out, the 2005 added 10 horsepower. And what I can say about the RSX is going to be mean, but helpful. Kind of like when I told a girl in middle school that she had a unibrow and she cried. She still gave me her 2% chocolate milk and she hated me. I got the milk. She got it all taken care of. It was not, she didn't do it on purpose. She just didn't know, okay? I just gotta come clean. The RSX is too heavy and lacks a little bit of torque to keep up with similar feelings of today's cars. Performance aside, the Acura RSX is one of the best looking mid-2000 tuner cars around, hands down. I put it right next to the S2000. A goddamn Acura RSX, the official car of parents giving their honor student the car they saw in Fast and the Furious, okay? The car's in a perfect position of not being technologically locked down to work on and not being analog enough to be racist. It's perfect. The Type S holds the K20A2, a performance version of the K20A3 and the non-Type S version. The difference is the compression ratio. You get an 11-to-1 compared to a 9.8-to-1. You also got enough structure and support in the pistons and the cylinder head and valve springs from factory to give it enough strength that you can do pretty much anything you want with this thing up to like 500 horsepower. I don't understand Honda, but they do it right. But here's the thing, with suspension, Eibach anti-roll kit to tighten up the weight of the car, H&R Type S sports spring kit if you're on a budget, or BC Racing BR coils if you want something that's in stock, which we got you on the site now. It has a search bar. Things are getting pretty serious. If you're going to get more into track focus building with the RSX, we'd recommend jumping up to the 500 or 510 series Fortune Auto coilovers. They're rebuildable, you can fine tune them, they're awesome, and they work fantastically. Now, if you're going to enter the tune zone, the Type S sits in a silly spot. The compression tells you that you can't really run boost, but remember, the higher the compression number, the less boost it can typically handle. That's like the general way to look at it. But Type S owners don't give a I've seen people run CX turbo kits, some of the shittiest turbo kits in existence from eBay, throw it at 12 pounds of boost, put a K-Pro Honda tune on it, and they'll be running 400 horsepower for 100,000 miles. I don't get it. And that's the thing. You can run these up to 500 horsepower on stock internals, which is insane. The Acura RSX, the official car that Scion TC wished it was. But you don't need to turbo it. The car is fun as is. And I have yet to meet somebody who didn't love this car. It has to. It will be a Honda classic. But if you stick naturally aspirated, stay around the air intake, reflash it to breathe some new life into it, and do your typical maintenance items on it, because at the end of the day, you're gonna be buying a damn near 20-year-old Acura that didn't know it was an Acura yet because Honda couldn't figure it out, and it's gonna give you a couple problems. Now, you can put an LSD from a Type R in these too, and that's like one of the joys of this car, that you can put like anything in it. But what the car does require you to do is learn, because remember, there's a lot of things that you can put in here. You can put the LSD from a Type R in here. You can switch things out from other Honda and Acura models into the suspension bits of these cars. They're literally walking, driving Lego blocks. They're not that fast in the straights, but the back roads will make you smile. They aren't a billion horsepower, but they can be if you're bored. They're not crazy to look at, even though the front nose is probably my favorite of all time car designs ever. But they don't need to stay iconic. They can stay relatable. The hydraulic power steering is nimble enough to make it feel like an absolute monster in the SCCA classes, which is why you always see them parked next to the brand new GR86, and it's still spanking asses. They just aren't that popular anymore. So should you go buy one for $20,000 because money isn't real right now? Pump your brakes, because you don't, okay? What we need to do is make sure that what we want is actually what the RSX will do for people like you and people like me, because I was on Marketplace and I almost bought one because they looked really affordable. Will it beat a Camaro? No. Will it look better? Probably. Will you have to work on it? Absolutely. But will it be fun? Yes. Why is this car forgotten? Because other cars stole its thunder, particularly the transition of hatches coming in with like mid 200 horsepower from factory. These cars are the best to pick up if you want something fun to work on. Buy some 15 or 16 inch Enkei or Graham-Light wheels, some Michelin or Continental tires. Let us mount them and ship them to you, then lower it. Spend time learning how to do as much as you can by yourself, because this car is so gosh darn close to Honda, most people can't tell the difference, which means you get the best of both worlds. You get a better looking Honda that's still easy to work on. So how do you modify an Acura RSX? Easy, baby. You go snag $15,000 from a credit union and be ready for the most wholesome car owning experience of your life. It's like being married to a Midwest person, okay? It may remind you of your first relationship too, because it feels almost too perfect. You don't have to worry about going toxic and imploding it though, because the Acura RSX doesn't let you down. The RSX loves you regardless of your toxic traits. Find a manual and get ready to have fun. Decide if you're going the way of a turbo build with like a CX Racing turbo kit or similar, if they don't make them anymore, with the Wastegate GT35 turbo and all that goodness. You can go with a Honda tune, or you can go with something that is custom made. But if you're gonna stay naturally aspirated, go with a nice K-tune exhaust, maybe a PLM header, and some nice clutch work getting done so that you can just make everything feel tight. Now, good news, if you can think of a mod, this platform has it. Just don't get too wild because quality wheels, tires, suspension, and a few aero bits are gonna set you back for about $3,500 for quality stuff. Please don't go reps on this car anymore because it's too iconic. Spend a little bit of money, make it look good. After spending probably 5 to 8 grand on parts and arguing with your friends that it's just as fun as a BRZ, take it to the next autocross event and fall in love with how it feels. This thing is going to send you down a rabbit hole of Honda/Acura ownership, to which you're welcome. You are now in a cult. But most importantly, if you picked one up or you already built one, mod your car at Martini Works, add it to the build thread so you can help people build their cars, and drop a comment below on what you'd like to see next. I'm Alex Martini with 2 underscores on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you later. Adios.